Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back again to Good Morning Kuwait. Now we're going to have our first guest, and in light of accelerating environmental challenges and the growing global demand for energy, renewable energy has become a strategic choice that can no longer be ignored. It is now an urgent necessity to ensure sustainable future. Today, we highlight the importance of transitioning to clean energy sources with inventor Mr. Mahmoud Zaman, who has developed an innovation in renewable energy generation to discuss the role of innovation in addressing these challenges. And we want to welcome you. And how are you? And good morning.
Good morning to you too. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So today we're going to talk about renewable energy in general because it's now all the hype and this is what everyone is like heading to worldwide and globally. And to begin with, could you tell us about your invention in the field of renewable energy and the main idea behind it?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for hosting me to talk about my invention in general. The invention, basically, it's called a portable wind and solar power generator. The idea of the invention is to have a power source on the deserted area and places where it's very far. It's very easy to install, very easy to use, and it's efficient at the same time. I first started with this idea to get a power source for my farm where I have trouble getting some electricity over there. But when I work on it and I made further studies, it was really efficient. But this idea had came on about 10 years ago. And I used the sources that's available at that time. It's a cart that contains several solar panels along with the batteries and a wind turbine. The idea is to generate power wherever I go and get a sufficient amount of power. But as I told you, that idea was 10 years ago. I'm sure that if I have to do it again, that would be more efficient. I will have more power source based on the new technology that's available on the renewable energies these days.
That's very true. I mean, right now, maybe it could have been even more compact in the size.
Exactly.
And with new technology and how technology actually is growing really fast, these days, solar panels are even thinner and they're more reliable and they're more energy, they consume more light even better than before.
Exactly. You see, that solar panel I used about 10 years ago, it was 120 by 80. At that time, each solar panel would generate about 120 kilowatts. But right now, at the same size, I could generate up to 360. Wow. The batteries I used at that time, there was a danger of using lithium batteries. And in our weather, especially here in Kuwait, it's very hot. And the lithium batteries, once it reached 50 degrees, it become very risky and very dangerous. But now the new lithium, especially the iron phosphate lithium batteries, they can reach up to very high temperature and is still sufficient. So if I have to do it these days, it would be much, much more better.
But the question is right now, why do we need actually new type or clean type of energy than ever before?
Well, based on many studies, especially from the United Nations, that using the fossil energy, it's generating a lot of pollutions. Yeah. Especially in our region where we already have a problem with the weather and safe environment in general. So using it, it's very sufficient for me at that time. But for now, I think it's going to be very useful. We had used it in several places. There's a lot of places here in Kuwait start to adopt this technology. The oil sector has built a big power plant using the renewable energy to operate the rigs on the north in general.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Now, with talking about fossil fuel and all types of energy, does it possess any risk nowadays? And is it shifting to new type of energy is a must and a necessity?
Well, let's be clear about that. The fossil fuels, if you compare it several decades before, it was very risky with a lot of pollutions. Even though the systems right now are safer than before, but still, there's it causing a weather pollution in general. So moving to renewable energy, we will eliminate that risk. You know, with the technology right now, we cannot stop using the fossil energy for some big plants. But for a basic use like home use, small factories, stores, and personal use, I think still the renewable energy it's very sufficient and it have been tested, especially in North European countries like in Scandinavia, Finland. They have enough power using renewable energy, and they don't use the government and the fossil energies anymore. This power goes to the factories and main government building, but most of the houses and stores, and some commercial buildings, they are depending completely on a renewable energy. And some of them, they have extra energy that they are selling back to the government.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
They are making money out of it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've seen these days how in other countries where you look at the top of the buildings and even houses where they actually have solar panels and they are connected to different, let's say, backup batteries and also to the main power source that it goes to the government, and they actually take back, you know, some cash back, as they say.
That's right. Actually, here in Kuwait, the Kuwait Foundation for Advanced Science, known as KFAS, had run a test on several houses, over 120 houses. They install renewable energy. They install solar panels with batteries. And based on their studies, and I'm talking about the study about 8 years ago, they saved about a third of the amount of power they were getting it from the solar energy, and they were using a basic system. They still did not make the whole complete system for the house. So by using a basic system, they were saving about a third amount of power that they are using from the government electricity source to the solar.
Now, talking about that, we've shifted from talking about fossil fuel, and we want to shift now to going back to renewable energy. We know that the blueprint of fossil fuel and let's say the electricity line and the generators are already set and done. But how long does it take to basically shift to something new, and how long does the expansion needs in our region?
Well, the technology is already available.
Yeah.
For people to move to the renewable energy, they just need a decision.
Okay.
We just need a decision to be taken, and I think that's doable, especially on small scales like residential houses, some commercial entities. They can use this renewable energy. I think it's going to be very sufficient, but they have to set up the right system.
That's amazing. All right, now with that said, awareness is always key.
Of course.
So how can we, you know, give awareness to people that renewable energy is the right step, and it's not something to be you don't need to be confused of how it works. You just need to understand what it is, and we'll give you the step-by-step to make you understand how energy actually works.
You see, to spread this kind of knowledge, you need to go through several steps. First of all, you need to do the study, and that already have been done by KFAS.
All right.
Then after that, you have to make people trust on these kind of power sources.
Yeah.
People still, most of the people, they don't know, so they are afraid to depend on it.
Yeah.
Maybe they will face some problems using it. So next step, we need to move on to implement that in several places.
Because, you know, the problem, people are like, they always put in their head, like, if it ain't broken, then why fix it?
Well, this is the thing. Once you implement it on a government scale, commercial scale, and people start to seeing how efficient it is, then they will start believing on it and shifting from the fossil energy to renewable energy. By the way, it saved them a lot of money on electricity bill. At the same time, it's very easy to fix. Most of the parts that you are using on the renewable energy, they have a long life to live. Most of them, like battery, solar panel, they give you at least 10 to 15 years with a very high sufficient rate of power source.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, at the beginning, you have to pay for doing, let's say, the basis of renewable energy. But after that, it's just free energy. It's free-flowing energy.
Exactly.
And just maintenance, whether it's yearly.
It's very, very low maintenance. You don't need much of a maintenance.
Even in our region when it's dusty?
You see, in our region, there's a several factors that affect that, and we have to put that in mind. But once we understand these things and how to work around them, I think it's going to be very simple to use. Like number one is the heat. You see that the solar panels, their peak performance comes between 28 to 35 degrees.
Yeah.
But when you go up to 50, you would 50 to 60. In the old solar panel, you will get about 40% of the power, but with the new technology, you get up to 75 to 80% of the power that you need to get. At the same time, the batteries, as I told you, the lithium batteries, they were very dangerous to be on the heat. For my system, because it was outdoor, there's a sun effect on it, and the heat effect, that would lower the efficiency of the battery. But with the new batteries right now,
with them actually being more susceptible to heat, it actually works
exactly. And also, most of people now, they built a special room for the batteries, and you can install them. There's a lot of big companies. Before that, you have to put big amount of batteries, but with the new technology, several companies like Tesla Powerwall and PYD, they had developed a new batteries that is very good in size and can store a very high amount of power that can operate medium-sized houses.
All right. Now, talking about your invention, and every basically individual that is like you that loves to invent and innovate in this field, how can this actually make truly a meaningful impact in the field of renewable energy?
Of course, you see, my invention is how to use this kind of power source as a renewable energy on our region. I made the study. As I told you, I worked on that long time ago. My latest study that I've done about a year ago, it would cost me much less than before, and it would be very sufficient. At the same time, I would have a higher amount of power. I have several people who has used my system with the old, my old system, the invention when I made first time. It was reliable, but with the new one, it can give a power to several houses, and I did not actually use it on houses, but I used it on a camp. People who used to go to the camp, instead of using the fossil generator or the power generator using diesel or gasoline. So using renewable energy, it was very sufficient. Especially nowadays, most of the machine use a lower amount of power as before. Like lights, we used to consume about 60 watts to operate a simple light. Now with 7 watts, you can operate the lights. TVs, refrigerator, and many things. Even the air condition. I was afraid of using it on air condition, but when we did, it was very sufficient. It take a long time. Me and my friend, we had built a small portable house. It's completely reliable on solar panels and batteries. And we did not put a big system. We just put a simple system, and it's operating 100%.
All right. Now, finally, with basically, I know we're running out of time, but finally, what message would you give to our dear viewers when it has to do with shifting from fossil fuel to renewable energy? How can you, what would you tell to them to basically to trust the system, to make it more applicable in their houses?
Well, I want to tell them first, and this system is very reliable. Nowadays, it's much cheaper than before, has a high efficiency. And try it, even if you don't want to try it as covering 100% of your power, at least use it as a part of the energy consumption that you use for your entities. It's either residential house or commercial. You use it for a while, then you will find out how efficient it is. I'm sure within a year or two, you will move 100% using the renewable energy, and that would be very useful and efficient. I'm sure they would be happy with it.
All right, thank you so much. And we're happy actually for having you here in Good Morning Kuwait. It's been a wonderful actually talk between you and me.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here to spread this kind of knowledge for the public. And I'm sure we will see this kind of technology spreading among the whole country.
Inshallah. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, all thanks to Mr. Mahmoud Zaman, a senior project manager. Now, with that, we're going to go take a break, and we'll be right back for more. And we're back, dear viewers, now from renewable energy to coffee. It is no longer just a daily drink, it has become a space for creativity and art. And among these arts, latte art stands out, transforming a cup of coffee into a canvas drawn with milk and foam. Now, precise details, high skills, and creative touches make every cup unique. In this report, we take you closer to the world of latte art, where taste meets beauty. Let's watch this report, and we'll be back for more.